We're live?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? How's it going out there? Oh my gosh, the compressor, dude.
Oh no, we actually can't hear.
Can't hear that compressor?
Nope.
I can hear it. It's bugging me. All right, where were we? Welcome, everybody, to episode 11 of Monday Night Monster Jam. I'm your host, Mr. Rourke, and Tattoo is joining me. No, wait, what is that? That's from the 80s.
Yeah.
Fantasy Island. This is not Fantasy Island. This is Monday Night Monster Jam. I'm joined by this lovely, gruesome mug. Yeah, pretty awesome, isn't it? I know you're all jealous, unless you have one of these. This thing is pretty badass. Drinking his brains. I just licked tongue with a mug. All right, so let me share this little lovely treasure that was so kindly gifted to me by the one and only amazing Turkey Merc, a buddy of mine, who is a fantastic sculptor. Makes these ridiculously amazing mugs, as you see. We're gonna give him a little shout out here. Come in this beautiful little box. Thank you so much to my buddy Turkey Merc. Please check out his Instagram page and his website so you can order your very own mug. They are ridiculously rad. I've been dying to have one for a long time, and I finally got it. He's so cool. Pretty rad. So yes, Turkey Merc. Check him out. Go to his Instagram page. Let me show it to you guys here. I think I've got it. There you go. Go there. Check out these amazing mugs. Can I see that? Or here, maybe I should go. Maybe I should go here. Go. Oh, I'll get it right. There we go. Well, it's out of focus. I think the camera's out of focus. We'll get the show down. Don't worry, guys. There we go. Boom. All right, guys. Check that out. Go there. You can get yourself some really killer mugs. He makes all kinds. Check out his website. Super nice dude. One of the coolest cats I know. And thank you so much for the mug, buddy. You rule. You didn't have to give me that. I owe you. Okay. Welcome, guys. We have an awesome show tonight. Hopefully you're for those of you that went over this weekend to what was an pretty awesome Monster Palooza show, I must say. That was an amazing event. There was lots of monsters and lots of memorabilia and effects artists and makeup demonstrations and artwork and collectibles and everything you could think of under one gigantic roof in one gigantic building with a gigantic amount of people. That's a lot of gigantic. So that was cool. I had a lot of fun. I was able to go actually for 2 days. I was really only going 1 day originally, and then some kind friends of mine who I'd like to shout out to. Thank you to the Newmans, and thank you to the O'Briens for giving us extra wristbands so we could walk around Sunday and enjoy the day. I was able to display a few pieces in the museum if you happen to go through there. I had about 4 pieces on display. There was also a beautiful chrome vampire by my good buddy Noah Rivers. Check that out. Amazing young talented kid. And so it was really a lot of fun, almost overwhelming overload. And now I'm just getting back to life. But it was fun to be on the other side of the fence this time. In other words, normally I'm doing the show, or have done the show in the past for many years. I think 10 or 11 years. It was nice to just be walking around this time and enjoy all the other artists and their work and see what they're doing, and not have the stress of doing a show, because that's very stressful. Yeah, so it was great. I had a great time. Sam, what did you do over the weekend, man?
So I celebrated my nephew's first birthday.
Awesome.
So I got to help my brother kind of set that up a little bit. And then, yeah, I just kind of decompressed because I worked Star Wars Celebration the week prior.
Oh, that's right.
So I just had a lot of exhaustion coming off of that. And I'm like, if I don't sit down, I am probably going to collapse. So I just kind of sat at home. I watched a movie called Chunking Express. Definitely recommend that to a lot of people. Like, it's a great movie. But yeah, I just kind of chilled out. Took some time for me. So it was good.
Got to do that sometimes. You got to do that. Awesome, man. So it sounds like you had a good weekend, relaxing. Yeah, so let's see what's on the agenda tonight. So tonight we are gonna go back to sculpting. And last week we did an ear demo for you guys and then changed it into 2 or 3 different ears. I forget, 3. 3. And that was just a little quick demo. This time we're going to do a demo, a little demo on how I go about doing dentures for monsters. Now, this is something that works for both mask making if you have a design that needs teeth inserted later or gums and teeth inserted. You're going to do them separately. I've done that a lot with my masks. It always looks nice when you have, a different material than latex or something. But I also do it on mini busts and smaller busts, which I'm going to demo for you tonight. But you can apply this technique and knowledge to masks. If for you mask makers out there that are like, oh, I want to see it on a mask. Okay, well, there you go. So it works for everything, maquettes and everything. So I'm going to show you what I use, what clays I use, how I go about doing it. And the cool thing about this is not only does it give you a great look, but the great thing about it is if you are trying to make a mold and you have all these teeth, as you probably know or don't know, when you're going to make a mold and you have all these teeth and stuff, it can be a nightmare because they don't want to come out of a mold. It's hard to pull them out of a mold. There can be lots of problems. So separating the dentures is a great thing to do, and it makes molding and casting a lot easier. And it's just looks cooler. So you can't beat it. Okay. And then let's talk real quick. We have an artist share tonight, of course. Again, at 7 o'clock, we'll share a new artist. And then also, I'll show you what I picked up at Monsterpalooza, by the way. This is not our artist share, but I'm going to share this artist anyway. I picked up this awesome, this was the thing I picked up, my little gift to myself from my good friend and longtime pal. Yeah, let's put him there. My good friend, longtime pal, Steve Wang. So he had some really neat busts that he had sculpted in ZBrush and then printed and then molded and cast in resin, solid resin. Nice chunk of little resin there. And, it's a little tribute, Steve Wang style tribute to the old saucer men. And I love it. It's something I'll eventually paint for myself. And I believe Steve mentioned that the money from these goes to charities. I'm not sure what charity, but that's really cool that he's doing that. Beautiful casting, beautiful little bust. You can still order these, I believe, from Steve Wang. So if you're interested in one, and he has many different designs. He had some really cool ones, but I really love this one. That was my one pickup from Palooza. Yeah, awesome piece. Love it. So go check out Steve Wang's stuff as well. And thank you, Steve. Love this. Let's see. What else? So, we're always talking about this, of course, coming soon. As we're growing the channel, we're doing a giveaway. Woo! All 4 of these bad boys. 10 sets. Not 1 set, not 2, not 5. 10. 10 painted, fully painted sets are going to be given away to 10 lucky people from our stream subscribers that are with us. We'll be doing that, scheduling that once we hit that magic 1,000 subscriber number. 1,000. Once we hit that, we're going to schedule a stream where we go live and pick random winners and figure that all out. We'll figure it all out. You don't have to worry. You just have to show up. But yes, these will be given away for 10 fully painted sets. I just went crazy there. I'm gonna be a little tired tonight. I'm sorry, guys. You know, it's been a long weekend, so bear with me if I start talking weird. Okay, so there's that. As a reminder. As a reminder, please, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, because that is the one thing that helps us out more than anything else, is you liking and subscribing and then telling all your friends and the whole world about this show, because the more people we get, the bigger the show grows, the better and more we can do and offer to you guys. Yes. So please help us out as much as you can. And let's see. I guess it's that time. It's time for me to get to work, huh? Stop talking. Stop, as my son says, stop chit-chatting. No more chit-chatting, man. My son, my daughter, and my wife, all super patient with me over Monster Palooza, talking to people left and right, and it drives, So thank you to them, too. Putting up with my nonsense. All right. Here we go. So what we're going to use tonight, the material of choice for clay. I'll put my turkey merc mug right here so you can look at me. All right, so I'm going to use the almighty Super Sculpey. So this clay, I find with artists, either love it or they hate it. Most of the ones that hate it just haven't given enough time to learn how to work with it. There is a learning curve because it's kind of like a stiff bubble gum kind of clay. And then when you warm it up in your hands, it gets softer and softer. And then by that point, they're like, how do I sculpt in this bubble gummy clay? It's actually easy. It just takes some patience, and it takes it's a slower clay to work in. So you have to have patience. You can't be in a giant rush. But once you get it down, and once you get it, you get used to it and how it works and what works well, then it becomes very easy and a lot of fun. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this clay. So that's for the gums and the tongue. Now for the teeth, everyone always asks me this question. I get this question so many times. What are you using for your teeth? And I tell them Sculpey, translucent. So this is a package, a small package, and it comes in larger packages like this one. And I store them in this Ziploc bag because this stuff dries out pretty quick. Funny enough, it not dries out, it just hardens, and then it becomes hard to work with. So you have to, this one, especially this one, you have to keep that way. Super Sculpey will stay soft for a very long time. So this is a translucent clay called Super Sculpey, Sculpey Primo, which actually is one of the strongest clays they make. Now, these clays that we're using are not your traditional oil-based clay or water or anything like that. These are polymer clays. So what that means is they're plastic, and when you bake them, they become hard in the oven. So a lot of people that make dolls and stuff like that use it. So yeah, so it's a bakeable clay. But the more you mess with it, you can see it becomes very soft once you start kneading it. Like this one here is nice and soft now. So you knead it and you get it. Now I did some. This is a werewolf I'm doing for a class that's coming up here at my studio shortly, which I should talk about the class as well, which I'll get into. I have a class June 25th, right around the corner, and there's only a few seats left. I think 4 seats left available. So if you're interested in taking the class, there are 2 busts that come with the class, this werewolf and this vampire. I can grab him here. So these 2 knuckleheads, which I'm working on, and both will have teeth made separately for them. But these 2 lovely busts will come in resin and given out to each student with the teeth and gums and everything, and a 20 color paint set for the class. And you come to my studio and I teach you how to paint them. Can't beat that. Pretty awesome deal. So anyway, back to just sculpting here and not pushing all my garbage. All right, so this guy I'm working on, still some stuff to do on him. I got to finish him in a few days here and get that vampire done. But anyway, so the what I'm going to do tonight is show you guys, and you can see how I've hollowed out this so far, the inside of the mouth here, and I'll probably clean this up a little bit. But that's the first step. So on your sculpture, you would remove any teeth that you might have put in prior. Um, Say, you have some roughed out teeth in there. I usually rough out some. And what I did do originally is rough out some Sculpey teeth. So you can see here that these are unbaked, soft, roughed out sort of teeth. And you're going, well, why don't you just use those? They're done. Well, because I never baked what I call a little plate or palette plate to work off of, which is what I'm going to show you how to do. So they're kind of soft, and I mean, I could bake them, but yeah, then I would have to be working on a baked piece. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do it the way I always do it, and I'm going to show you how I do that tonight. So what I do, once this is cleaned up inside the mouth here, and you've got this how you want it, then you can move forward into the next step, which is making a little palette, which I'll show you guys here shortly. But before we do that, let me just check the inside of this mouth here. Make sure it's what we want. So I'm going to clean up in here a little bit. And by clean up, I just mean, just scrape out some excess clay that we may not need, or make sure it's as deep as I want it to be, that kind of thing. And just overall generally cleaning up the inside if there's any. You don't want the inside of the mouth to be too rough. You do want it to be pretty smooth. But it doesn't need to be, brushed down with anything, or doesn't need to be like super ridiculously smooth and machined. But the nicer you make it, the nicer the results, and the nicer the fit. Now, if you wanted to put a key, so that the dentures could be keyed into the mouth, you could do that. But I don't find that it's necessary to do that, to be honest. Because once you glue those suckers in, they're not going anywhere. So, and usually what I'll use is a 5-minute epoxy for the glue, or super glue. So. And you can see up here on the top, it's a little rougher. So I'll just smooth this out. And if you want, you can make at this point, you can make the back of the throat much deeper. That's another thing.
Here, Casey, while you're doing that, we have a message from Carl Dean Sanders Sculpture LLC on the chat.
Yeah, I know Carl. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, he's saying, though incredibly brief, it was still good to see you yesterday.
Oh yeah, Carl, it was awesome seeing you, man. Thanks for stopping and chatting with me for a minute. Definitely great to see you. Sorry I didn't catch up with you further. I don't think I saw you after that ever again. But that doesn't surprise me, being Monster Palooza. It's just so crowded. Yeah, man. Good to see you again, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking out the show too, buddy. Appreciate it. I'm just gonna keep, scraping away here. think I want to make the throat area a little deeper too. For those of you guys watching that went to Monster Palooza, what was I'm gonna throw questions back at you guys tonight. How about that? Take that. What was your favorite table or booth or artwork, or what did you just see that you loved the most? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know. So this is just I know, not a super fun process to watch, but a necessary one. I'm gonna turn this upside down. It's gonna be a little weird, and of course, no one likes to see their sculptures upside down. Then you see all the flaws you didn't see before, and you're like, ah, no, god damn it.
Artists signed the line art layer on Photoshop.
Yeah.
They're overdrawing.
Oh god, no! What happened? It's actually a good thing because you can see things. I'm seeing something that's off now. Now I'm getting distracted. This is called sculpture distraction. You see something that you didn't see before, and you're like, oh, you veer right off the road. But let's not do that. We got a lot to do. Let's see here. Just gonna dig out as quickly as I can.
Their Monster Palooza experiences right now.
Awesome.
Neil Leffler saying, my favorite piece of artwork was the TV holding a child at Shane Stover's booth.
TV holding a child at Shane Stover's booth. Trying to think, did I see that? TV holding a child. So much to see there that it's gonna be hard to remember everything. But now that was Shane Stover's booth. Okay, I'll have to think on that one. I don't remember seeing that necessarily, but cool. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, there was that one, and then Stacy Rockefeller says the recreation of the original Yoda puppet was pretty epic.
Yeah, that is epic. That was epic. That looked neat. It was cool. The museum was pretty nice. There was some cool stuff in there this year. Buddy of mine, Feck's buddy of mine, Chris Nelson, had some really cool stuff in there. He had the original Michael Myers from the new movies, the mask, and he had a creep show setup of the creep in the booth, the ticket booth, amongst some of the masks from Fear. What's that show? Fear Street or Fear? Yeah, is that 80s kind of vibe Halloween show on Netflix or something like that, right? Yeah, there's like a guy with a mask running around in the mall killing people. There was like a scarecrow mask and a really awesome skull. Super cool. There was a lot of good stuff, man. Another talented kid friend with that shares my name, Casey Wong, had some really nice stuff on display. Full size statues. There's some amazing Godzillas. There's a lot, man. Cool stuff in there, as it should be. Oh, and really cool. One of my bosses from ADI. Tom Woodruff and a few of his good buddies built a full-size Aurora Frankenstein model display. Huge life-size Frankenstein. That was beautiful, really cool. They did the box art, the giant paint brushes, and everything you'd have as a kid when you're painting an Aurora thing. The tester bottles, paint. It's really amazing. That was cool. And it was good to see it's getting a lot of attention on Instagram. That piece. That was a heck of a lot of work to put that together in such a short time. So that was awesome. All right, we're almost there, guys. I'm just cleaning this up. Making it kind of nice and neat. My favorite part of Monster Palooza, I have to say though, was just seeing all my friends from the Fags and the art world and model kids, and just all the people I know, from all different walks of artistry. That was a blast. People I haven't seen, some people that I haven't seen in years, So that was cool. So cool. All right. Let's fix your lip, Wolf. Your lip looks messed up. All right. So anyway, so now that this is pretty cleaned up in here, and I like it, it's a little deeper, nicer. Usually the next step that I do to make these little denture plates is I take the Super Sculpey, some of the pinky beige stuff here, and I knead it up. It's kind of like warming it up in your hand. You knead it like this, and that gets it nice and warm. And then I take a thin bit of this. And let me get a flat tool to work with here. Okay, kind of maybe one of these, and maybe what else we got? Where you at? There you are. Okay, so now the next step that I do to do this, now let's say as I go, I'll kind of explain this as if this was also like, let's say this was bigger latex mask or something, and this is your latex copy out of the mold. But for this purpose, it's this is gonna be a resin bust, but you can do the same thing. So if this was latex, it'd be the same process. So just remember that. And so I lay in some clay like this, and I kind of push it into shape. The inside of the mouth. Like that. And basically, I'm going to drink something because my voice is going to be cracking all night. So basically, I'm looking to get the inside shape of this mouth and make this little plate here. Now, with latex, it's easier to do this than it is this type of thing, clay. Because if this were latex, I could just push from the bottom and get this plate to pop out. But this being clay, it's going to be a little harder, and I'm going to have to test fit back and forth to make sure I get the fit. Now, I mean, it doesn't have to be, and this doesn't have to be like super crazy perfect or anything. It can be, you just need the inside shape of the mouth. Don't make it too thick, because keep in mind that you have to have room to build up gums and everything on top of this. So you don't want it too thick. Now I'm just pushing it around. All right. Now, if this were a resin bust, let's say you already had your resin copy and you're doing this out of the resin mouth, which is smart to do, you could just bake it right now and then pop it out. But this is clay, and if I try to bake it, the clay is going to melt, especially this clay because it's monster clay and it's sensitive. The great thing about monster clay, though, one thing that's going to help us with this a little bit is the fact that it's so waxy. That's going to help the release of the Super Sculpey. I'm going to go in the back with my tool here. I'm going to go in the back of the mouth and try to pry this. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky situation. We're going to have to adjust. So I'm going to see, you can already see I'm going to have to sort of get this fit by working this a couple times. Okay. Could probably lay in a light layer of Vaseline too, that would help. But now that I've got it out, like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. Now I can lightly lay it back in and sort of lightly push it back down and then pop it back out again without deforming it so much. Okay? Boom, like that. And that's our lower denture plate piece right there. Okay? Now, let's make the top one. So, I'm going to flip him upside down. Hold on to him. And let's do the top plate here. And then, just keep adding little bits of clay and building this up so it's where you like it. Now I'll just smooth this out a little bit with my tool. Hope he responds pretty well to metal denture tools or dental tools and wood tools and all that pretty well. Okay, so now I got to lift it out again like we did before, which kind of deforms it. Then we can lay it back down. Keep messing with this until it's about right. Okay, that's good enough. Just push it back down because I know it needs to go down. All right, so now we have upper and lower pieces, right? So now what I do is I take some tin foil like this. Take our dentures, or denture plates, sorry. They're not dentures yet. They just look like flat pieces of nothing. Put them kind of close together. Now we're going to make some noise and some heat. I'm going to move my sculpture back because I don't want that getting hot or melting. So this is a heat gun that does, I don't know, 700-800 degrees or something crazy like that. Just has one thing. You just turn it on and you go. So I'm gonna bake these quickly with the heat gun, and what'll happen is they'll go from being glossy to matte and become very hard. You don't want to have the heat gun too in one spot too long. You got to keep it moving. You can have it fairly close, but you got to keep it moving. Otherwise, it's better to be up higher, away from the sculpture if you're not going to be watching what you're doing. But I suggest that you watch what you're doing and keep this moving, so you don't burn. Basically, if you don't, you're going to burn the heck out of these things. Like fry them, turn them black. So here we go. We're just going to bake these out. Won't take too long. We're going to flip them over carefully. Bake them from the other side. Over there is like a jar of Vaseline. Can you grab that? On that desk. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, man. Thank you. I'll flip them over one more time. They're nice and hot. That should be good enough. All right. And the cookies are done. Sculpey cookies. Look at that. Yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do is let these cool for a sec, obviously, because I don't want to stick them in this clay. This clay is so heat sensitive that it would just melt. These things are pretty hot, so we're gonna let them cool down. And once they'll cool off pretty quickly. Once they're cool, then we can pop them in, check the fit. And so while we're waiting for that, we'll take this commercial break for no. So what do we got for any favorite Monster Palooza tables or booths? Excuse me, sorry guys.
Yeah, there was one that mentioned about Mikey Severe's Spook Show. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Says I wasn't there, but that display with Uncle Forey and Vampira and the mini Frankenstein trick or treater was pretty damn alright.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was some awesome stuff. Yeah.
And then Spooky Threads pointed out Meiji FX's booth was pretty amazing.
Oh yeah. Patrick McGee. Yeah, very very amazing. He had huge 3 booths full of stuff. He even had some. He does the Horror Nights stuff for Universal Studios Horror Nights. He had a bunch of that on display. He had a bunch of his art. He had made tons of stuff for the show. It was amazing.
I saw Trick or Treat Studios had a thing.
They
At a
did.
docket.
Yeah, they had a small, not small. They had a booth, and they had a booth there. They had masks and figures and things on display. And then they had I think on Friday night they had a signing going on with Daniel Roebuck, who's playing Grandpa Munster in the new Munsters Rob Zombie thing. That was cool. Yeah, I think. Some of my favorite things myself were Steve Wang's uh, Elite Creature Collectibles booth was nice. He had, like I said, he had some great stuff on display. Man, there was a whole bunch of. I'm trying to think. I'm like, uh, there was Pat McGee's, Steve Wang's. What else did I see there? There's so much good stuff. Gosh, there's a lot of amazing art everywhere you went. Oh. Yeah, there was so much good stuff. My wife got this. I bought for her. She saw it and then she told me about it. I bought for her this toad purse. It's a purse that's a toad. That was a cool booth. They had these selling these purses that were latex toads, with a zipper on top. It's so cool. I always like seeing stuff like that, like someone come up with a unique idea and make something out of it. That was cool. Yeah, Mark Newman and Susan Newman had a great table setup with some awesome artwork. PCS Collectibles had a great booth. God, there was a lot. I don't know, so much there. Anyway, okay, so these are our little cookie chips, Sculpey chip denture plate things are ready. They're they're cooled off enough. Um, so put my tin foil away, and now these will fit in there as you had them pretty much before. I mean, pretty close to what they should. So there's the bottom. And so the next step that I do is always the trick is to get Super Scopy to stick to itself. And this is such a weird trick that, I found out years and years and years and years ago. Makes no sense, but somehow it makes sense. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a bizarre thing because typically, whenever you use Vaseline, I have a big jar of it here, to put onto something, it's to release it, to get it not to stick. But that's not the case with Super Sculpey. With Super Sculpey, you can brush this Vaseline on lightly, like that. And then wipe it off. And what it does is it kind of blocks the surface a little bit in a way, but allows the fresh Sculpey to then stick, which is crazy because usually it's used as a release. So, yeah, so now you can see it's shiny. I put the Vaseline on, and now what I do is I take a worm of clay like this and start adding onto this little denture plate like that. Start adding my gums and what will become gums. This is how I build that up. So just add that on. As I'm doing this, I'm trying to think what else I saw at Palooza that was really cool. By the way, Palooza wasn't the only show this weekend. There was another show I used to go to that I would love to go back to eventually, maybe next year. If it's not the same weekend as Palooza. It was the same weekend. For anyone that's familiar with resin model kits and stuff like that, there's a show in Louisville, Kentucky called Wonderfest. And it's an awesome show that has all resin model statues and kits. Godzilla, King Kong, Dinosaur, Frankenstein, famous monsters, all kinds of things. Predators. But they're model kits that you buy and build and paint and put them together yourself. And all the guys that make these and produce them sell there. I used to do the show every year for many years, and yeah, it's a good time, good show. They have classes, all kinds of stuff happening. Model kit contest. So, if you ever go to Louisville on the weekend that Wonderfest is going on, I highly recommend you check it out. So they'll be back next year again, I'm sure. Just don't know because the month always changes what month they're doing it. Also, wasn't the NAMM show going on? There's like 3 shows this weekend. So. Good Lord. So the NAMM show is in LA. That's the music industry show, all the musicians. And I went there once. It was crazy just to see like big, huge name musicians walking around. Yeah, I went when I was. Like yeah, I know. It was weird. Like, oh my God, there's blah blah blah. The one year I went, I mean, it's like I was at this drum kit section, and there was the Iron Maiden drummer just cruising. He was hanging out there, and he was, one of the whatever drums he plays. I forget what brand, but yeah, there he was, just chilling out. So weird. So you can see I can just build this up, and then what you can do is test fit these in here, get a look at it, see if you like it. But stay in there, don't move. All right, so then you get an idea of the fit and all that and how it's looking. So okay, so I'll do the bottom now. Let's do the top one. So we need our Vaseline again. We're gonna just slather that on there. No, I'm just kidding. You just need to put a little bit. You don't need a lot. Just enough to block that Sculpey surface, that baked surface. Now, one word of caution with baked super Sculpey and putting Sculpey on top is it will, over time, absorb the moisture out of the fresh clay, and it can do it enough to the point eventually, if it's left around for several weeks or more, to where it will crack the clay, the fresh clay, and dry it out really bad, especially if you have a lot of big block of Sculpey baked underneath. So be careful, make sure that when you're doing this, you're prepared to finish what you start. That would be the best advice I could give you, or the best. Okay, so we're going to put a little more. Build this up. Anyone else chime in on their favorite Monster Palooza moments or things?
Not yet, but yeah, if you guys have anything else at Monster Palooza that you guys saw that you really liked, shout it out.
Yeah,
tell us what it was.
Tell us what you like.
We love hearing what you guys have to say.
Could be that our watchers, not many of them went to the show. Maybe. There was a tribute to an old effects buddy of mine who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. The amazing Matt Rose. They did an awesome tribute to him. I unfortunately wasn't there Saturday. I didn't know it was happening until it was too late, so I couldn't make it, but I wish I would have been there. I think it was presented by Steve Wang and Norma Cabrera, which is awesome. They were really good friends of Matt. I worked with Matt on a number of shows, which for a while on Men in Black 3 with Matt for like 11 months, and plus some set work. It was pretty fun time, man. He was a funny guy, amazing person, very humble. Very nice guy. Miss him. A lot of fun to work with. So, yeah. Too bad I couldn't be there.
Was it just an exhibit of a lot of his previous works that they had?
I don't know if they like. I'm assuming they maybe showed some slides and stuff, or pictures or something of him. And maybe talked about his career and some funny stories. Matt was one of those interesting artists that didn't really enjoy the limelight very much and just kept to himself. But he was so amazing, such an amazing sculptor. And he had a very extensive career at Rick Baker's on many, many films. So, everyone has seen his work. And then, of course, he's well known for sculpting the head to the Predator, first Predator movie. Steve Wang did the body, and Monster Squad Gillman. Those are some famous. The head of the Monster Squad Gillman, and again, Steve Wang did the body. So they were, they were well-known buddies, and a long time. Came from Northern California, sculpting masks. Came to the effects industry, and just both of them launched serious, heavy hitting careers, working on some awesome films together. That was amazing. I got to work with Matt a number of times on many different projects. So it was fun. Okay, so we got some Sculpey on there. Yay! Okay. So now I just, usually set them in the mouth and take a look real quick, make sure everything's looking good. And now the fun part is, and it's kind of crazy, you have to be careful. You could, if it's hard for you to hold, which it is kind of hard to do, to hold these little tiny dentures and sculpt. So sometimes what you could do is you could bake another piece of Sculpey on as a handle, but you could also just hot glue a popsicle stick to this, which that might not be a bad idea, because you can get that to release with just some alcohol. We'll pop it off, the hot glue. I wonder if I should do that really quick. So what time is it?
It is about 7 o'clock.
Oh, it's 7. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'll have to do it the other way. Okay, so let me do just a little build up on here, and then we'll get to our artist share. We're at that time. So let's see here. So what I do is, okay, that's the upper. This is the lower. So we'll start with the. Let's start with the uppers. Let's do that first. So here's my original, and here's my new one. So the new one will be a little thicker because I want more gum tissue to show than before. I definitely know that for a fact. Yeah, now I've got basically the same rough shape, not perfectly, but roughly. So now the thing to do is I'm going to use this as kind of a rough guide. Man, you could even just stick that on there. I could have just done that, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, I could have just stuck this on there. But then you wouldn't really see how I build it up. So anyway, we'll do it over. It's no problem. So yeah, so a lot of times now what I do is I take this and just start adding clay, continue to add clay anyway, and build up your gums and your look of your teeth. So, and one of the things you can do that might help out is to sort of mark. Let's see if I have some sort of tool here. You can kind of mark where your teeth are gonna go. You can hold these kind of up. I mean, if I didn't have these, I just guess where they're gonna go. So you could say, okay, those are gonna be Those are kind of going to be the canines here. And the next tooth, next tooth, next one. I have to move this canine over a little bit. So yeah, you just kind of roughly say where you want them, or mark where you want them, and then you can start building around it or whatever. Another thing you can do is there's a couple ways you can do this. So you can take this clay, your translucent, and you can pre-bake hard teeth if you want, and put them in the clay now and build your gums around. That's a nice way to do it. You can do it that way. That's not usually the way I do it, but that's an option. Although actually, let me cover. I'm going to cover this up because I still need to go a little thicker. So I probably did that a little bit early. Let's cover that up a little bit. And I'll switch to these little wooden tools because these are very helpful to just push the clay around and figure out what you want to do without messing up, you know. So the thing with Sculpey that drives people nuts is it moves around on you. You know, it's not like a clay that stays put where you put it. It can kind of it's kind of bubble gummy, especially when it's warm. So you'll get frustrated because they push it one way and then something moves, or you have to finesse it a little bit, get used to how it behaves, and then once you get used to that, it's a lot of fun. It's amazing what you can do with it. I'm just adding a little bit more clay where these, I know these canines are going to go in, so I want to make sure clay is thick enough there. All right, and now I'm going to remark roughly where I think everything's going to land or go. Here, here. Okay. Canine. Now we've got some back teeth, which we can figure out. Some molars. Figure that out in a minute. Mark it roughly. All right, so now, at this point, you can. What I'm going to do is go ahead and, even though I mean these don't look like gums or anything at the moment, it's fine. It's not doesn't have to look like it yet. But I'm going to go ahead and sort of take some of this clay, the translucent clay, and I kind of like to figure out roughly about how much I need to make the tooth size correctly. I'll sort of grab a ball of it and then sort of feel if it's if it's about right or not. And what I'll do is just like anything like you would do as a kid with clay in your hand. You just make a cone shape. Like, see, I feel like I have a little too much. Let's see, probably need half of that. I'm just estimating here. That's too much. And once I get that, then I'll put it in like that. Start pushing to blend this clay to the Super Sculpey. So this is the same kind of clay, just a translucent version. So it will blend and grab right onto the Super Sculpey. And now I can kind of pinch and pull a little to get the tooth to come out like that. You know, and if I want to angle it a little bit or curve it, I can just gently do that. Now I can start looking at the gums and the teeth like that. And it starts to look more realistic. So that's how I start putting teeth in. So I just make that little hole socket. You know, make it big enough that you can fit the tooth in, by the way. I made these a little too small. So, okay. And now the tricky part is to get the same amount of clay on the other side. We can do all the tooth shaping after. But you know what we'll do? We'll do this. We'll go in line here. So let's say this next tooth in line would be about that big. And then we'll do the same thing. We just use these little spatula wood tools. You can even just make your own tool like this. You don't have to buy this tool anywhere. You can just make one, or you know. If you have a sanding machine, you can just sand your own and then just polish it out. You can make all your own tools. So now we do the next tooth, and we're gonna get a little smaller now because, you know, naturally the middle teeth will be a little smaller and maybe even less pointed. Let me see what I did on the original. Yeah, it's kind of going for, you know, these two center teeth would be not as pointy. Now, one thing you have to check, you have to hold up and make sure that you get the teeth centered a little bit, you know, or make sure they look good. You don't have like a tooth landing, and you can mark a little center line to your sculpture. You don't have like a tooth landing where it shouldn't go. Okay. See if we can get, trying to get the right amount of Sculpey on my finger here. It's too much. Now, after I get these laid in, it's kind of just a matter of you know, pushing, pulling, and tweaking to get them to look exactly the way you want. All right. Now let's get that other. So what I'm doing is just holding at the back here gently so that I'm not messing anything up here as I'm sculpting. If it's easier for you to pre-bake the teeth, you roll them out and pre-bake them. That's fine. The only problem with that is you can't sit and tweak them like this, and I can now go back and put like details and little crease lines and things. I mean, it's hard to sculpt a little tooth like that in your fingers and get that detail. You can't, it's almost impossible. So you want to go back, and be able to smooth them out and all that stuff. You can't bake them yet. So that's the thing. So you gotta struggle through doing it, where it's I think it was my voice. I think it's from talking all weekend at Monster Palooza. Got hoarse voice. So it's a little struggling through to get the teeth all lined up right. Is this supposed to be on by now? Wow. Whoops. I totally forgot about that light. I was like, why is it so dark? I'm sculpting and it's so dark right now. That's better. Okay, let me try to estimate this amount of clay again. So you just add the tooth in like you did before. And then you try to match it up as best you can to the other tooth. Kind of like so. Now we can gently hold those in there and get a look at kind of what we got here. So, not too bad. So there's the first few just roughed in. Now this is still rough. It's not anywhere near finished. So don't think that's finished. It's not finished. And now what I do is, like this side, for example, is missing some gum tissue. That's on the other side. So I'll just add it in like that. And then I'll just keep going back and forth and working this until it's, 100% what I want. Start actually also accenting the gum tissue by giving it like what would look like some sort of skull structure underneath. Anyway, so that's we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to talk about artist share tonight and share someone's work. So let's do that real quick. All right, so, and then we'll get to questions. Yeah, you put that there. This here. All right, let me grab this piece. Okay. This is one of several I have from the artist. Get in Okay. So tonight, artist share. I gotta glue this down. Oh my god. All right. So tonight's artist share is none other than the awesome, super talented guy who I just ran into at Monster Palooza and talked to for I don't know 5 or 6 times. Um, Mark Newman. Mark Newman is a sculptor that I had come to know from the uh, garage kit industry, which is what I was just talking about, the Wonderfest show and all that. Um, Mark is been sculpting. I have no idea how many years that guy's been sculpting. He's been sculpting for a lot of years. I first discovered his work way back, like I said, in the garage kit hobby market, where he was doing resin kits, selling kits. In fact, this one here was one I purchased, as well as a werewolf called Moon Singer, which a lot of people know that kit. And he's got a new werewolf kit out. And but Mark is not just a monster guy. Mark is a guy who's multi talented in a especially with female sculptures. I mean, his female sculpting skills are insane. Um, he just actually had, for those of you that did go to Monster Palooza, he had a piece there that he had done for PCS Collectibles of a Deja Thoris, and it was incredible. I mean, the paint job on it too was incredible. Whoever did the paint job was outstanding, but the sculpture was just mind blowing as well. So, Mark is definitely an A top sculptor with anatomy and females and everything. Everything he touches is gold, in my opinion, because he's just so good. He's done a lot of work for Sideshow Collectibles over the years. He's done a ton of Court of the Dead. He's done lots of superheroes and characters for Sideshow, and so yeah, Mark is a fantastic sculptor. But where I first discovered Mark's work that impressed the hell out of me was back in the day. He did these, what I still consider one of the best werewolves ever sculpted in the garage kit industry ever, which is Moonsinger. I don't think that thing's ever been topped. That's just my opinion. There's been some great werewolves, but I don't think anyone's ever topped that thing. Again, it's his anatomy, it's his handling of hair, it's his handling of everything. And this piece here, the Neanderthal, or I think he called it Neanderthal, um, is another example of Mark's tremendous work. Now, this piece I actually painted. This is my paint job. I did this paint job many years ago on this. Sometimes I get pieces like this, and I just look at them for years and years and years, and I don't even know how I want to paint them. And so this one, I just went for it, and this is what I came up with. This very apey kind of creature with the patterns in the skin and all that stuff. Is a lot of fun to do. But Mark also has a long history of working for people like Randy Bowen, who we've shared Randy's work on here before. Randy used to have a company called Bowen Designs, as some of you may know, and he did. He would do a lot of statues for Randy back in the day. So I mean, Mark has been around for a very long time. He's still producing kits and pieces for sale, and he does bronzes as well. He does. He actually does these really funny pug bronzes that pee. They're like little peeing pugs. But he also does a lot of beautiful female bronze statue work and many other things. But yeah, so he's been a huge inspiration on me over the years for a long time. And I remember when he first came to Monster Palooza and he was just walking around checking things out, and I got to meet him for the first time. It was awesome just to finally meet Mark at that time and get to know who he was. And he's such a nice, humble, gigantic guy. He's way like half a person taller than me. I'm like, when I'm talking to Mark, I'm looking up. It's a little guy and a big guy. I hate taking pictures with Mark because I look extra small. But I'm just joking. Mark is a great guy. So he was at this past Monster Palooza show, and his wife Susan makes these awesome pieces of jewelry and things, with famous monsters in them, and glass over them and everything. They're really, really nicely done. Bracelets and I think earrings and rings and all kinds of things. So they share a section together, and both of them are both of them are very talented. But yes, I mean, Mark's work has been a huge, huge inspiration. He's been in magazines like AFM magazine featured his work. I believe it was the Moon Singer. There's an old issue with the Moon Singer on the cover. If you look it up, I believe it was a blue cover or something. You might check that out because there's an interview in there with Mark. Very old interview, but awesome nonetheless. Worth a read and a buy if you can find one on eBay or get one off of, I don't even know if they sell back issues of that anymore, from AFM, which is amazing figure modeler. Yes, that's the Moon Singer. Yeah, that thing is awesome. You could put that up too. Yeah, so this is a little tribute to Mr. Newman, Mark Newman. Such an incredible sculptor, super nice guy. Makes some awesome pieces. He sells his work. You can buy pieces from him. I don't recall if his website is just Mark Newman Designs or Mark Newman, but check him out on Facebook and Instagram. You can see his work. He posts often there, and yeah, you can buy pieces from him. He's got an amazing new werewolf out now. I think it's a graveyard werewolf on top of a graveyard. It's really cool. So check that out. Mark sculpts both traditionally and digitally equally as well. So that's another thing about Mark that's amazing. He can do both. He's traditionally a traditional sculptor, but he's transitioned into digital a few years back as well, so he can do both. So yeah, awesome sculptor. This is actually one of his traditional pieces from way back when. My guess is he would have done this out of Super Sculpey or something originally. So you can see, since we're working in Super Sculpey tonight, you can actually see how awesome pieces like this can turn out. I'm just guessing that he did this in Super Sculpey. I know that he was known to work in that a lot. I'm sure he also works in traditional clays. Yeah, this is Neanderthal by Mark Newman. Give Mark a follow. Check out his work. You won't be disappointed. He is amazing. And I've known him for many years now, and he's such a sweet guy. So check out Mark Newman's stuff. All right. Thank you, Mark, for all the years of inspiration, man. It's your work is tremendous. Love it. All right, I'm gonna put my cherished piece back, and we can go back to. Well, let's go to questions. Right? So let's go to questions, and then we can get back to sculpting. Let me get some water. All right. So, what do we got? Oh, you know what? I gotta apologize to all you guys. We forgot to, at the beginning of the stream, we forgot to acknowledge all you guys. I'm so sorry. Totally blew it. I got so carried away. But we can do that now with questions. Yeah, we forgot to kind of do our acknowledgments. Sorry, guys. Apologies. So here we go.
Yeah, so our first question for tonight comes from Matt McNeil.
Who I just saw at Monster Palooza. Thank you, Matt, for the question.
So Matt asks, for multiple copies of something, would you make molds for resin teeth? Assuming it's like for resin teeth. If so, is there a best way to ensure the same color / translucent quality of the sculpting? Is there a best way to ensure the same color / translucent quality of the sculpting, assuming for multiple pulls of the same?
Okay. Matt's got to be getting all technical on us. No. Let me try to answer this. I'm assuming he's talking about reproduction.
Yeah.
In a mold once you have the sculpey done.
For multiple copies.
Yeah. So the way I do it is, once these teeth that I'm showing you right now are finished and they're then baked. So these teeth will get sculpted, finished off nicely, detailed. These little dentures we're doing. I'll bake them in the oven. I won't bake them with the heat gun. Excuse me, guys. By the way, I'll bake them in a home oven at 275 for hour and a half, something like that. And then once they're cool, I will add some clay to the bottom side. Or no, well, I'll add like a, not clay, excuse me. I'll add like um, a round cylinder or something to raise the teeth up off the the uh, the the floor or the little box mold you're gonna make. If you're making a box mold, you want to raise it up so that you get the underside of the gum, so that that's what fits. You get the fit. So I'll usually use something small that doesn't take up the whole surface shape of the underside, where it fits up against the roof of the mouth, or the inside of the mouth that you've carved away. So if you're following me, what I'm saying is I'll use something like round, like a little chunk of hot glue or something, like a round piece of hot glue from a hot glue gun. I'll cut a little sliver off and glue the dentures to that. Just something to lift it off the box. Then I'll pour my silicone in, make my mold. Let's fast forward. Mold's made, all done. And then I'll take translucent resin to cast that. Now, the translucent resin I use is 325, color match 325 from Smooth On, which is Reynolds Advanced Materials. That's the resin I use. I tint it. Now, if you're looking for consistency in, like, you need 10 copies all exactly the same, then my suggestion is that you mix up a big batch of that resin and tint it all, so that you're not getting inconsistencies. Or find out what you want and write it down, how much drops of what tint you put in, so you know how to match it exactly every time. That's the way I would do that, so that I can get copy after copy the same. Now, the one thing I do, to be honest though, is I just cast them in a milky white, translucent milky white. And then what I do is I just paint the gums and paint the teeth from there, So I would say the only reason to tint it all and do it that way is if you're looking for speed, to you don't have to paint so much. But otherwise, the problem with that is you have to separate the teeth from the gums, really, to do it right. So that's a big pain in the butt. So what I do is do translucent white casting and then just paint it. And that's the easiest for me anyway. And that's how I always do it. And that's what I offer in the kit to everybody. It's a translucent milky white resin. Now, if you don't like white, if it's too stark, you can just add a touch of tint to it to yellow it or something a little bit. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Cool. We actually have Kadeem Artisan in the chat right now.
Who?
Showed up. Kadeem Artisan.
Kadeem, what's up? I just talked to you. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
He's actually got a question for us. But
all right.
We'll get through these first, and we'll get right to his. So our next question comes from Kevin Young.
Kevin Young. Thank you for the question, Kevin.
And Kevin asks, what are the benefits to using a heat gun over an oven? I think you kind of explained that. You kind of use both, right?
Yeah, well, the heat gun that I use tonight to do these little dentures is just so we can quickly get that little thin piece of plate, bottom denture plate, baked, so I can go quickly to doing showing you guys the rest of the gums, the rest of the sculpting. But the difference, like, if you're wondering, because I just mentioned, I'll do it in the oven next. The difference is the oven is not so aggressive. Like a heat gun is 800 degrees. You have to be careful and you have to keep moving around. You saw even what you're not probably seeing on camera is it bubbles a little bit. So it's very aggressive, the heat gun. It's not, Sculpey's meant to be baked at no more than 275 degrees. So that's why with the heat gun, you got to keep it moving and keep it away from it, and not go crazy because you'll burn the heck out of it. So an oven is safer. It's more appropriate. It doesn't bake it out so aggressively. It's just the way you're supposed to do it, the way the directions tell you to do it. A lot of people try all kinds of different ways. I've tried many different ways of baking things: lower temperatures, longer times, this temperature, that temperature, raising the temperature, lowering it, whatever. So these days, I just stick it in at 275 and I bake the hell out of it. So, and then you're good to go.
All right. Our next question comes from Cast of Thousands Studio.
Oh, that's my buddy up north. Yeah, what's up, Cast of Thousands? I'm blanking. Oh my god. Tim Pearson. Tim, what's up, buddy?
They ask, how often are you using Sculpey Gray these
I'll be right back. Entertainment, Sam. Oh, maybe introduce your face.
Hey, everybody. I have no idea what Casey's grabbing right now. He just had this moment of like, I'm going to grab something. And I'm like, okay. Hope everybody's doing all right. Yeah, I have no idea how long he's going to be out right now. So I was just going to say, yeah, so I actually missed Monster Palooza this year, but I really wanted to go. Yeah, if you guys have any other stories or like art pieces or something that you wanted to share in the chat, just sound off with them. We love hearing about what you guys like, what you guys liked to see at the show if you went. Ooh, here we go.
All right, thank you, Sam, for hanging in there. Let's jump in on this. So, okay, so to answer the question, I don't use Sculpey Gray that often, but I got a chance to use it recently. The medium gray, and it just reminded me when I was asked that question, I was like, oh, I should share this piece. This is a piece I'm working on with multiple Sculpey colors, and then here's one that I tinted. Another piece I'm working on with tinted Sculpey. These heads have been baked and keyed, which is cool for you guys to see how I did that, which we'll do this in a lesson. I'll show you guys how to key your stuff in a lesson soon, how I do this. Cut things and then key it. This is a piece called Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Speak No Evil, obviously. Or, well, I don't know that it'll be called that because that's so generic, but that's what it's based on. It's a piece I'm working on. You can see, but the heads are done and baked, and they're really cool, And this is going to be a kit, This is the main dude in the center. This guy's all spiky. He's a cyclops. He has no mouth. It's all bone grown over. This guy's all no eyes, bone grown over the eyes. This guy there's bone grown over the ears. You can't hear. So hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And then this is another. When I was working on this, I had this happens to me all the time. I get another whole three-headed idea that I have to do, and then I stop working on what I should be, and I'm like, I gotta do this one too. This is so rad. And I drew this out real quick, and this became this weird mongoloidy butcher monster creature backwoods. I don't know what it is. It's some weird thing. I mean, this guy's got a nipple on his head, for Christ's sake. So anyway, because it'd be there. It'd be right there, right? That's on his head. Anyway, this is a weird thing. It's gonna have another part of an arm with like a club. They'll have long hair. Some freaky mutant monster thing. Blah. Anyway, so the gray Sculpey, I don't use it often. I rarely use it, to be quite honest, but I had some stuff that was getting old on me and I wanted to just put it to use. So here it is. I used it on this and a few other things, but yeah, I really don't use it too often. To be completely honest, I do prefer the pink, or I prefer to color it like I did here. I just color it myself. And by mixing the little Sculpey 3, or you can mix Fimo or whatever into it to make it whatever color. Usually I'll do a green gray color actually. But anyway, yeah, that kind of answers their question. And I got to share these pieces finally. Okay, next question.
All right, our next question comes from Stephen Harris.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the fellow last week who was asking about the DVD.
Stefan, thanks for the question, man.
So Stephen asks, have you tried cosplay? If yes, what are your thoughts on it?
Not only have I tried cosplay, I believe. I don't know if I want to answer it this way, but I'm gonna be a little biased and say I think I was the first artist to ever try cosplay, if I'm not mistaken. Arnold Goldman could correct me on that, but I believe many this is many years ago at a Son of Monster Palooza. I mean, when it was in the first Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank, if not even Monsterpalooza in Burbank, is I'm talking 2013 or something. I mean, he handed me some experimental clay called he hadn't called it cosplay yet at all. It was just totally experimental. He said it was like super sculpey but more rubbery and it could bend and all this stuff. He had handed me some gray stuff and it had all these problems that where it got old quick or dried out quick or cracked or whatever, and he had to solve. He was working on the formula. And so I was one of the first that I knew of. I mean, there's probably a bunch of others too. I know eventually he ended up, giving a bunch of samples to many artists to try and down the road. But I think I was one of the first to try it, if not one, or if not the first, because I was going back and forth telling him what I liked about it and didn't like. And so yes, I love cosplay. It's amazing, man. And actually, Jordu's done a lot of experimenting with that stuff and done some really cool stuff. If you check out some of the things he's done, like bake stuff and make it movable with armature. So yeah, great clay. Eretz Cole Contis has done some cool stuff with that clay. I've done a few things with it here and there. I do love it. I use it from time to time, I have some here that Arnold gave me still, some samples, so I just got to use it up, find the time to use it and what to use it on. But yeah, great stuff. I love it. And it is fantastic. It is very strong. When you bake it, you can bend it all over the place and move it around. And so if you're doing horns and you wanted to bend them or tentacles or whatever, that's definitely a clay to use. So amazing clay, yes. You can get that from Monster Makers, by the way.
All right, and our next question comes from Chris Dawson.
Chris, thanks for the question, man.
Chris asks, can you revive old Super Sculpey? I'm new to using it, and the stuff I bought seems to crack and not blend very
well. Well, yes and no. Depends on how old and how far gone. I have revived some stuff. The way to do it is to. Do I even have that stuff here? Yes. So Sculpey makes this oil that revitalizes clay and freshens it. So, but what you have to do is break it into small chunks or cut it into chunks or whatever, get it down so it's not like a block or whatever. And oh yeah, sorry, there you go. And brush a layer of this on and put it in a plastic baggie and let it just sit for a week like that. And then go back and knead it with your hands. It'll be a little oily and weird. I mean, knead it together, knead it all together. And if it's not too old, it will revitalize and you can get it to workable again. If it's too old and just too brittle, and you'll know because you won't be able to even move it, you get it to move, then it's done. It's gone. It's lost all of its oil inside or whatever. So when you buy a batch of this stuff, sometimes it can sit on a shelf for a long time, so you do have to check it first, make sure. And when you do buy a batch, take it out of the box immediately. And now it's not in a box. It used to come in a box. Now it's in this plastic bag, which actually is better because this doesn't absorb the juice, the oil out of the clay like the box used to do, sitting on a shelf. So, but what I do typically is I throw this away and then I put this in a plastic bag, like a baggie, lunch bag or whatever. So that's the best thing. Here's some mixed up green color. I'll show you guys. Like I've had this forever. You can see, this is still super fresh. I can just pull it out of the bag, and I've had this clay forever. And this is a green-gray color I always mix up, So, yeah, just put it in a bag like that. But yeah, oil up the clay with this stuff, brush it on, and then put it in a bag and let it soak for a week, and then go back and check it out. Because I have some hard stuff here. This is the gray I have. It's very old and crumbly and hard. Actually, this batch isn't so bad, but I have a batch that's really bad. And it's probably getting too far gone. So yeah, and I think I might have done that with this. Just brushed the oil on this stuff and put it in here for a while. So that you can do that. You can also dry Sculpey out if it's too soft. If you just think it's too gummy, you can smash. You can use a roller pasta roller or something, or you can just take layers of it and put it between paper towel and leave it there with some heavy books on it for a week between layers of paper towel. Maybe for a week, and then you'll see that the paper towel absorbed. What's absorbed? Absorbed all the oil, a lot of the oil out of the clay, and then the clay is much firmer. So you can adjust. Yep.
Mikey Severe Spook Show. It's not showing up on my phone.
Okay, Mikey.
He has a comment on the dry sculpting thing.
Sure. What's he saying?
He says Tom Kubler does a thing where he puts it through an old-fashioned meat grinder.
Yes.
And that gets it started just like it's new.
Actually, yeah, I have. I think he told me about that. He does have an old-fashioned meat grinder because Tom uses Sculpey to do his life-size pieces. And he uses just super Sculpey pink beige, and I think he does like a foam understructure, and then he does a thin layer of Sculpey on top and builds up his characters. So if you've ever seen him work, he does life-size stuff in silicone, but his sculptures are done in super Sculpey. He prefers super Sculpey, which is I've always said if I could sculpt masks in super Sculpey, I'd do it in a heartbeat. It would just take me forever to do. It's the thing. The reason I love super Sculpey so much is the getting wrinkles, yeah, and stuff. It's so much easier than any other clay, I think.
And our next question comes from Kadeem Hardison.
Kadeem, what's up?
So Kadeem asks, or Kadeem says, "What up, Gunslinger?"
What up?
His question is 3 different clays that you're using on the werewolf right now: the gray, the translucent, the one you're using to make plate with.
Yeah.
Denture plate. Do you get them from an industry store or do you get them from a regular art store?
Oh, where do I get the clays from? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So this clay here is monster clay, gray, and it's medium grade. They make a soft, medium, and a hard. And I like the medium. And I buy this from monster makers online, but there's places out here locally that sell it in LA. So if you're in the LA area, you can look up let me think who has it. Reynolds Advanced Materials carries it. I believe Motion Picture Effects carries it. I believe Nigel's carries it. And then I believe what's the place called? There's a bronze place in Burbank next to Burbank Airport. Something fine arts. Oh my god, I get my latex there. I'm blanking. Anyway, there's many places you can get it. So that's monster clay, and it comes in brown. If you prefer a brown tone or the gray, I like the gray a lot. So that's that clay. American Fine Arts. Ugh. American Fine Arts. They also carry latex and sculpting tools and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this clay, Super Sculpey here, the pinky doll clay looking stuff, and this translucent clay, the Sculpey translucent, I buy those at Hobby Lobby or Dick Blick or Michael's Craft Store or any of those places. So craft stores, art stores, especially Dick Blick, they carry it, and you can buy that there. Okay, and that's where I get all my clays. Yep, pretty easy peasy.
That's all the questions that we have right now.
All right, cool.
Keep sending them in, guys. If you have any,
keep sending them in. I'm gonna get back to sculpting. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna put these guys way rid of them. Don't forget, get your mug. Turkey Merc. Turkey Merc makes awesome mugs. Check those heads are loose. You can stick it on that desk or whatever. All right, let's see what we can get done. This is just a quick, rough demo, guys. This is not anything that's going to be finished tonight. It's going to take a while to sculpt these little teeth thingies. But I wanted to show you the basics, how I do this. And like I said, you can do this for masks, little bust like this, whatever you're making. So what we've got so far is our rough little dentures. I'll keep working here. Keep adding. So I've got my Super Sculpt B. And then what we're going to do here is add some teeth, notches. So these next set of teeth here will kind of be more molar-ish, or more molar-like type teeth. The ones you're grinding his human victims with. All right. So I make those little notches just like you saw before. And then take a tooth. Now, a lot of this is just, pushing, pulling the clay into shape, or shapes that you like. Also the other thing is, you can start to sort of sculpt the roof of the mouth as well. You can, start doing that. These little ball tools work really great for that. Ball-ended tool. Thank you. I know we only got 15 minutes to go, so I'll get as much done as I can for you guys. There's a lot of talking tonight, so thank you for staying with us and listening. Let me see what I can jam away on here. Also, if you have dirty fingers, one thing about Sculpey, man, is the dirt will collect in it pretty easily and show up. So, kind of have to have clean hands when you work with this stuff. So, I've seen sculptures where the Super Sculpey is all black, filled with dirt and dirty hands. They always try to have clean hands. Now, one thing that's cool is if you weren't going to do any production, if you're just like, hey, I want to sculpt a vampire maquette, and but I don't care about molding it. Or maybe you're working for a show and they just need a concept. I'll do this really fast and put it in the clay sculpture. It really brings it to life, even if it's not painted or something. I mean, you could always paint the clay sculpture too, but a lot of times I've done this technique for, you know, movie concept or something like that. And you could just bake the gums and teeth and put them in a sculpture, you know. It looks great. Or you could paint them, you know, you can bake them and paint them as well. And you know, if you're, say you're new to all this and you don't have any molding knowledge or how to mold and you don't want to, you just want to have a finished piece, like a little portfolio piece or something, you could do this and just bake the gums and teeth and put them in your sculpt. It'll look a lot better. Really cool. Brings it to life.
Funny you mentioned that. Creative Critter actually asked a question just now. If this process is possible for wearable masks too.
Yeah, so what I do for wearable masks, if you know, let's say you have a monster with an open mouth, um, like this werewolf, or let's say it was a shorter, snouted, more classic wolfman, and you wanted to make the teeth separate instead of the teeth being latex for a more realistic look, you could totally do that. You could sculpt the denture plates, you know, inside the mask, mouth area like this, like we did, and then you could um just easily bake those, make a silicone mold, cast them in translucent resin, paint them up, and glue them into the mouth, and then have the eye sockets and things open or wherever you want the vision holes to be. You could still have a breathing hole in the back of the mouth, throat, for your customer that's wearing the mask to breathe. You know, maybe the teeth and dentures even hide that hole, you know, that breathing hole a little bit. So yeah, it's 100% possible. I've done it before. The and then you get a more realistic look. But of course, you have to keep in mind that now you have to, you know, charge a little more for that mask. I mean, if you're going to do all that work, it's more time and labor than if it's just all latex. So the cooler it gets, the more it costs. Or the more technical it gets, the more it costs. More labor. So yeah, I'm trying to think still what I saw. Other stuff I saw at Monster Palooza that was really cool. Some cool stuff. Some cool mask makers there, man. Yeah. Anyway, but now what I'm doing is just pushing and prodding on these gums. Uh, you know, like the when you look at the upper roof of a dog or whatever, they have these, you
Ridge
know,
lines.
ridge lines and yeah, up on the top of the roof of the mouth. I want to add in cool features like that.
Chris Dawson actually has a question about the dentures to a wearable mask.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's his question?
what is your preference or glue preference for attaching them to, or attaching the plates to a latex?
Oh, so yeah, putting gluing the dentures into latex. Funny enough, back in the day, it used to be hot glue, but I've switched because hot glue can come off eventually. If I mean, it can bond extremely well, and then sometimes it can pop free. So, funny enough, and I know this is not super flexible, but because it's a not flexible piece going into the mask, it works fine and it bonds like crazy. It's super glue. Super glue bonds to latex instantly. You don't even need kicker. It as soon as it touches the latex, it wants to set. But you want to make sure you don't have any paint on the resin side, the underside that you're gluing. Don't have paint on there. So clean it off carefully with Q-tips and alcohol or something that doesn't, attack your paint or accidentally drip onto your paint job or something like that. But yeah, you can clean that off and then glue it right on to it. Yeah, I think I just rhymed.
Would something like barge be too intense?
Well, barge just won't. Barge is good. It's a contact cement, but it just won't. I don't think it would grab as nice. You could try clear Gorilla Glue. You'd have to let it dry overnight. Gorilla Glue would work too, or maybe Shoe Goo because it's rubber and but you'd have to let it dry again. Or E6000 could work. But I honestly, super glue is like so fast, and works every time that that's what I use. And even though it dries and it's kind of like not that flexible, it doesn't matter because the pieces that you're putting in the mouth aren't flexible. So it doesn't matter because it's not like the mouth has to move up and down and talk and all this stuff anyway. So you're just wearing it. Unlike like a silicone mask, everything silicone and then you move and talk and it's all fine. Okay, so you can see I've got some basic forms and little details, or well, not so much even detail, just form. Most gums are soft tissue anyway, so it's not about like crazy detail. Really what I'm going to be doing mostly is going around and getting the gum lines and adding little bits of clay. What the heck was that? What was Charming doing? That was my dog, man. Scared the hell out of us. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna have to get all Monster House on him. Get off my lawn!
Sounded like a fish was
Dude, I
running
think we
over. I'm
both
like,
jumped
what
like,
the fuck?
and I'm trying to do this like tedious denture stuff, and then that's gotta happen during the stream. Ah! Like, I could have threw the teeth across the room, man. Get out and run out there. Hey, you kid! I'm trying to sculpt some monster dentures. What are you doing to me? uh, I think my wife went to go shoo him away. It was the wood? Oh my god, those kids almost gave me a heart attack, bro. Jeez. Alright, so see. Damn hoodlums. And then, on the front side here, it's the same deal. I mean, just a lot of pushing around and stuff. Okay. But anyway, you guys kind of get the idea. I didn't even get the bottom dentures done. Good grief. All right, but it doesn't matter because you saw the top ones. Um, Basically, this is what you do, and you just keep. You can see I just take these little wood tools and I just keep, pulling and pushing things into shape. I'll just keep adding little bits of clay. Um, on here. You can, like for example, say you want this gum line a little higher. You can use this end of the tool, which will give it a more aggressive look, right? And just push up that gum line a little bit. Now, one thing I haven't gotten into because obviously these aren't finished yet or even close to being finished, is uh, smoothing out the clay. Like what do I use? Because I'm sure that would be a question from people as well. Like what do they smooth everything out with, and it's very easy. All I use, and what I prefer to use, is um, alcohol, 99% alcohol. If you don't have 99%, you can get away with 92 or 97 or whatever you can find. The 70% stuff won't work. It's too watery. So don't mess with that. But you can use um, any of the 91, 92 and above will work just fine. In fact, those are less aggressive than the 99. But if you want 99%, you can get it from the effect shops I talked about earlier, Berman Industries, Friends, Beauty Supply, Nigel's, Motion Picture Effects. They all sell 99% alcohol. If you can't find it, because it's hard to find that in like a grocery store or a CVS or something like that. But yeah, so that's what I smooth with a soft brush. I'll go in and it'll smooth anything out that you don't like. Um, don't put too much on. You have to be careful with the alcohol though. If you overdo too much, so it's good to sculpt as far as you can go with the clay, because if you try to rely on the alcohol too much, sometimes when you're alcoholing the teeth and you push, you'll crack, the clay will crack, and then because it's drying out, with the alcohol is drying out the surface a little, and it'll kind of crack on you, and then the tooth will be done. You have to put a whole new one in because you'll never get it to go back um, together again. So you just have to resculpt the tooth. So just watch out how much alcohol. Don't douse it to death. Just do little bits of smoothing and polishing with alcohol, and then you'll be okay. And try not to, once the clay is sat around, like if this Sculpey sits around overnight, and I go back to the sculpture tomorrow, more, let's say in the morning or something or whatever, you go back to your sculpture, um, just know that once the clay is cooler and you haven't been holding it or messing with it, it can be not as rubbery because you haven't been pushing it around. So just be careful that you don't push something or bend something too much, and then again you can get like the clay can like just kind of come apart in an area or something on you. So typically that doesn't happen, but it can, especially on fragile stuff like this. So just be careful. Let's look at what we got so far. No, let's do this way. Let's pop these in and then move them around to the spot. Or is this going to be difficult on me? Come on. No, you want to. I'll try and get it lined up for you guys. You can kind of see it a little bit better. Maybe I can get it to hold. Ah! Of course. Try something else here. Okay, so that didn't work, so let's try putting a little Sculpey up there. I don't want to have to smush everything I just did. Oh my god. Quit giving me problems, you stupid. Alright. Not liking this idea.
Like,
Yeah, liking. Okay, so you don't like that. What do you want to... Wow, what I gotta do to hold this on here? Bastard. Werewolves are always so much trouble. Okay. Get in there. Everyone wants to see. Sure, everyone's laughing right now. Like, look at this idiot. Can't even get it to stick. All right, so that's. I just wanted to get it to stick enough. Let's hope it doesn't fall. But that gives you a good look, idea of what to do and how I do it. And you know, you can still push the canines out a little. Oh, no, no, no. Don't do that. Okay. Anyway, but you get the idea. Now, of course, when this is a model kit, you know, the customer will, oh my God, stop sticking to the tool. The customer will, you know, glue these in after they paint them all beautifully and nice, and it'll look cool and neat. Oh man, I'm gonna lose it. You guys are gonna see me freak out right now. All right, I'm gonna have to call that done for now. Anyhow, that's the process to make your little dentures. And of course, the bottom uh, piece, you know, would have. I'm gonna throw these old dentures in just to show you guys, but it have this tongue. You know, you just build the tongue up solid clay and give it the shape you want and all that. You know. Oh my God. Okay, I can see what kind of Monday night this is gonna be. Nothing's gonna go right. All right, so but this way you guys can kind of see a more completed idea here, and you know, look at from the side there. You know, you get the nice looking thing going on. Yeah. I think he's gonna need. You're gonna need one of them denture bones, boy. You gotta clean them teeth. I need a denture bone. What do they call those things that dogs eat to clean their teeth? Dental bone. Need a dental bone. He'll need it once I paint the teeth all nasty and creepy. So, yeah, look at that. And then this guy comes along and Turkey Merc eats my sculpture. Turkey Merc's mug eats my sculpture. All right, guys. Sorry I didn't get to the bottoms, but you get the idea. I mean, it's really just a demonstration on how I do dentures for things. You know, I do this process for masks. I do this process for these little guys. Obviously, these little guys are tedious. If I were you, one of the big tips I would tell you guys, and I'll probably do the same, is take a pops. Oh, see, it just fell out in front of them. That was awesome. They just, I don't know if that's not comedy. I don't know what is. Okay, you little butthole. Okay, yeah. So take a popsicle stick. The only thing with a popsicle stick is you can't test fit them, so that sucks. So I do recommend, you know, that you make sure you're able to fit them back in afterwards. But it would be nice to glue this to lightly with a just a dab of hot glue to a popsicle stick, so you have something else to hold on to while you're sculpting your dentures. Um, yeah, you do toothpick. Yeah, yeah. Then you could take a little alcohol, pop it off, and test fit, and then glue the toothpick back on if everything looks good. So it's not too hard. The thing about alcohol, when you just put a little bit where the hot glue is, it'll get underneath the hot glue, and they can just lift it right off. It'll just come right off the surface. So yeah, now he looks like a grandpa. He's like, oh, back when I had teeth. Sorry guys, it's not wanting to stay in there. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's all you gotta do. And then you'll have yourself some sick little monster dentures, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. And then, of course, you know, when you're done with your moldy, you know, when you're done with, oh my God, fell again. Okay. Oh, you're just gonna stay out then. You're not gonna obey. You're not gonna play along with the stream and get lost. throws the teeth across the room. All right, so let's say though, just real quick, what we were talking about before. Let's say this is your baked denture. You're gonna mold it. So this is the piece that fits up against the roof of the mouth or inside the mouth. So you just want to glue a round piece or something to lift it off a little bit like this inside your box mold, so that silicone can get underneath and get most of this shape, because you just have a little nub that you would grind off, and then the denture fits right back in the mouth when you have the casting. So yeah, and that's also where you'd pour in, to the teeth. You could go with a little bigger too. You don't need a small. You could actually do most of this area, because you're gonna see where to grind it off and how. And plus, you can, when you're grinding that off, you can keep test fitting into the casted piece. So anyhow, that is how I do dentures. Look at, remember this trick when you were a kid? Wait. Yeah. Right. It's rubbery. See, we even do magic on here for you. Anyway, it's been magic. It's been after Palooza. I'm tired stream tonight. I'm so sorry if I feel or sound a little blah. But anyway, yeah, it's one of those Mondays. Getting back to it. But I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed. Next week, I will show you guys. Next Monday, I'll show you the finished dentures and how they turned out. So I'll have them done. And I'll have this werewolf done, because it has to get done. I don't have a choice. And we'll share that with you. And what else can we share with the lovely folks? Oh, I'm working on some special guests to join us on the show. Big name effects artists. So you'll have to keep joining us for that, because that's going to be pretty cool when that happens. So there's that. I guess that's it. I hope you guys have a lovely Monday night, the rest of it. If you're working in your shop watching, keep jamming on whatever you're jamming on. I'm sure it's cool. Share it with us, if you can, on our Monday Night Monster Jam Facebook page. If you didn't know we had one, we do. There's a lot of subscribers there, or not subscribers. That's this. Followers and members at our Monday Night Monster Jam Facebook page. So be sure to join us there. Share your artwork with everyone. And we'd love to see it. There's a lot of members there, about 600 and something right now. Please like and subscribe our Facebook page. I'm messing this all up. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, which you're on right now. That helps us grow this channel and get larger. If you know anyone that's interested in this show or would love to see this content, please let them know about it. Helps us out, helps grow the channel. Like and subscribe. We have 10 other videos that you can check out. This one will be up tonight, so you can watch it again. Watch me mess up, get mad at the teeth falling out all over again. If you want to do that. Check me out on my Instagram page, caseylove designs. My painting page, caseylove paintworks. Those are both on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, caseylove. And what else? I don't know. Class. Thanks. Thank you. My class, June 25th. Do not miss it. Werewolf versus vampire. Painting these two nerds. The two I showed you earlier. This werewolf and that vampire I showed you. We're going to paint both of those. I've only got 4 seats left. It's almost sold out. 10 lucky spots. 20 free paint colors included. What more do you want? Me teaching you? Come on. You love it. It's going to be awesome. They're always a lot of fun, the classes, honestly. Students walk away learning a whole heck of a lot. They seem to love it. I love it. It's a great time. Right here in my studio where we filmed this show. Pretty cool. You get to look at other monsters and have a good time. So you can sign up for that on my web page, caseylovemonsters.com. In-person classes. Scroll down, click, and sign up. 4 spots left. All right, next Monday, I have no idea what we're doing. I have to go look at my list. We had a whole bunch of episodes figured out. I will figure out what's coming up next Monday. If you have suggestions on what you guys would like to see from me, throw them out there, man. Let us hear it. Let's hear from you guys. Leave it in the comments, man. Tell us what you want to see. Help us out. I mean, I got a bunch of ideas, but shoot us what you want to see, and maybe it'll end up on a show. I'm sure it will, because eventually I'll run out of ideas. So, but yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Also, shoot it out on Monday Night Monster Jam on Facebook. That's another good place, or even private message me or something. Cool. Awesome. But we'd love to have it on the YouTube channel. All right, guys, that is it for tonight. I hope you had an awesome weekend, awesome Monday. Thank you for joining us again. We will see you next time. And that is all for me. If I keep talking, my voice is going to go bye-bye. So bye-bye.
Night, everybody.